Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a first look plus on-feet video of the brand new Puma King 2 EF Plus in the white, black, and fluorescent orange colorway. Now inside the box, all you get are the shoes themselves. They do not come with any extras. So let me get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at what is essentially the SL variation of the new Puma King. Now this shoe is pretty much completely different in comparison to the standard Puma King model. That shoe has a retail price of $150 US. This one retails for $50 more at $200 US. And in my opinion, this is the most exciting release of 2015 thus far. Really excited to try these out, mainly because it reminds me a lot of this shoe right here, the Nike Tiempo Legend for Elite. The reason why it reminds me of this particular shoe is because both of these models feature natural leather uppers with cable support systems, which is just very, very interesting. This shoe has Flywire. This shoe has their Total Fit system, which is all new to the EF Plus and something that I'm just very curious to try out. Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at all the details, the colorway, the visuals of the shoe, as well as all the important tech specs and just general construction, as well as talk about how these things fit and feel on feet. So pretty much everything you could possibly want to know if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself. Speaking of being interested in a pair, if you guys are interested, check out the review page on my website, first link down below in the description. On that page, there will be buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you will be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. So if you're interested in learning more about the EF Plus, please stick around. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs and just the overall design of the EF Plus, because in my opinion, it is a very, very interesting shoe. Now, starting off with the upper, as you guys can see, it is pretty much entirely made from leather. From the heel to the toe, the shoe is a premium leather as Puma describes it. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering what kind of leather it is. And that is something that Puma really hasn't specified in their tech specs, in any of their press releases, and any of the information I could get out of them. All they know is that it's premium leather, and that's what they've released to the public. With that being said, if you look at the standard Puma King, the current model, it is listed as a premium calfskin leather. So I would assume that is the same case for the EF Plus model as well. If it were kangaroo leather, I feel like that's something that Puma would tout as an ultra premium feature. And since they're not calling it kangaroo leather, they're calling it premium leather, I have every reason to believe that it's just general calfskin. But with that said, the quality is still really, really good. It's definitely thinner than what you're going to find on the standard Puma King at this point in time. It feels a little bit softer because it is slightly thinner. And overall, I'm just not complaining about the quality whatsoever. It is just as nice as all the other high-end leather soccer shoes on the market. So even though it isn't kangaroo leather, the quality, like I said, is still there. The only minor complaint I have regarding the upper is that you have a pretty heavy seam right here, which is noticeable at first when you put the shoes on. I'm not sure if that's something that's going to change once you break them in, or if it is going to cause some issues with discomfort, but just something that I thought was worth mentioning. I'll talk about it a little bit more later during the on-feet portion of the video. It's also worth mentioning that the tongue itself is made from a thin synthetic material as opposed to being leather. Now the leather upper is interesting, it's great. It's a nice combination of having that soft leather touch with an ultra lightweight construction, but it's not what makes the EF Plus unique and exciting. What's interesting about this shoe is their new EverFit Plus system, and for those that are wondering what EF Plus stands for, it stands for EverFit Plus. You guys have heard of their EverFit cage system, I'm sure, which they use on the Evo Power and Evo Speed lines in the form of fused on material either in the upper or on top of the upper. But in this particular situation, instead of using fused on material, which they can't really do considering it's a natural leather upper, they've incorporated their EverFit Plus system, which utilizes Kevlar cables that run throughout the entire upper. It's a similar system to Flywire or Brio cables that we currently see on the Obra and Superfly, but at the same time very, very different, and again implemented on a natural leather upper as opposed to a synthetic, which is definitely going to be a little bit more difficult, and why this shoe is so interesting to me. Again, reminds me a lot of the Nike Tiempo Legend for Elite that incorporated kangaroo leather and Flywire technology. So essentially how this system works is you have what appears to be a single thread of Kevlar cable that runs throughout the entire shoe, their Total Fit system as they call it, but it's not actually a single strand, and I'll run you through how the actual Kevlar cable runs throughout the entire upper. But you have this yellow cable that basically is what attaches the laces to the upper. So essentially it starts right about here on the shoe. You can't see that, but you can definitely feel it with your hand. There's a single cable that runs from here all the way through this hole that they've put in the upper. The Kevlar lace comes through, and on the lateral side, you can see that the lace actually attaches to this Kevlar cable. The way that the Kevlar cable attaches itself to the shoe all the way down the side here is that you have these little nylon loops that you would normally have for the laces themselves, but in this particular instance, it's just there for the cables on the lateral side of the shoe. So this Kevlar cable, like I said, starts here, runs through this lace hole, and then straight down the line of the shoe, with the laces attaching in the little seams between the nylon loops where the Kevlar cable is exposed. Hopefully that makes some sense. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about. But if you don't, again, I'm going to continue to explain, and hopefully you will start to understand. You're also going to notice that the nylon cables, hopefully you can see it a little bit in the light, run pretty deep into the shoe. So I'm not worried about them ripping out, because there is going to be a lot of stress put on those things to keep the cables in place. Now, once you get to the bottom here, that Kevlar cable runs into the forefoot area. So you have this little extension piece. It's not just there for looks. Obviously there is some stitching around it as well, but there is actually a substantial kind of, not bulk, but you can feel the actual Kevlar lace or Kevlar string running through the forefoot. So that's a little bit of extra support. And then from here, it's going to turn in and kind of be sewn underneath. So that's basically where one piece of the cable ends. And then from here, you're going to find smaller and smaller pieces. So now that the cable has ended right there, it's going to come from the base of the sole, run through kind of straight down the middle of the toe and forefoot area, and then come around here. And again, that's where the lace is going to attach. So it loops around, and then again, it's stitched in right here at the bottom of the upper, where again, kind of a couple centimeters over, starts from the base of the sole, runs all the way up, curls around so you have somewhere for the lace to attach, and then is attached right here again. That continues one more time, and then one more time right here. And then once you get to this point, the top one, again, curls around for the lace at the top, enters the lace hole like you saw on the other side, and then runs all the way down to the back of the shoe again. You can see there's a bit of an X-ray type of look at what's happening here. That Kevlar cable runs through here, and then they've kind of fused it in plastic so you can actually see what it looks like inside the shoe, and it attaches basically under the heel counter. So that Kevlar cable, it's not entirely one piece, but essentially covers you from heel to toe, which is really interesting, and they're kind of very unique take on a support system. Again, we've seen it with Brio cables, we've seen it with Flywire, we've even seen it with Adidas's new 11 Pro model and their skeleton support frame on a natural leather upper, but this is something that we've really never seen before. What sets this shoe apart as far as support goes is mainly how the cables actually run. You're going to notice that with Brio cables as well as Flywires, it's very vertical, so it's up and down from the base of the sole plate straight up to the lacing system, whereas on this particular shoe, it kind of runs with the shape of your foot. It has some curve to it and eventually does turn vertical, but this should put a little bit less pressure on your foot, but still maintain the same level of support. Again, I can't say that for sure. That's just something that was intended with the design. Until I actually wear them, I don't want to judge them too much, but I definitely think the design is interesting, and I'm excited to try it out. The one thing that I wish they would have done is incorporated some kind of support system here on the lateral side of the shoe as well for when you are making those quick cuts, because for the most part, the lateral side of the shoe is just straight up thin leather, whereas the medial side, as you guys can see, is pretty heavily reinforced while still maintaining that soft leather upper. There is stitching alongside of the actual cables themselves where they run through the upper. I don't think that it really has any extra support benefits other than just kind of being an aesthetic type of thing. But all in all, really interesting, and it's just really curious to see how these things are actually going to perform. Now, it does have a standard cut and heel, as you guys can see. The lining material is nicely padded, and it's kind of like a Clarino liner. For those that have ever worn hockey skates or something like that, it's very smooth, but at the same time, it has a very minor texture to it. Really nice, actually. Big fan of how this thing feels. And then as far as the insole is concerned, fully removable mesh liner on top, single layer of foam, nothing too special, but you can see the shape of the shoe at the toe. It has that anatomical shape where it comes to a bit of a point at the big toe as opposed to being perfectly rounded, something that we do also see on the Evo Power line and the Evo Speed line, but not on the standard Puma King. As far as the sole plate and stud pattern is concerned, this is their SL super light sole plate and stud pattern combo. Nothing new from Puma, new to the EF Plus and King line, I suppose, although we did see it on the Puma King SL for 2013. This is really what gives the shoe its ultra lightweight construction. One-piece heel counter, little cutouts at the back, but you still get that little bit of extra protection and the good kind of solid locked-in feel, preventing your heel from sliding side to side. That an external heel counter can provide. And then as far as the sole plate is concerned, it's made mainly from a Pebax material, and then you have nylon support kind of fused to the inside of the shoe. So you have a support beam and then a little bit of extra kind of perforated nylon through the middle. It's a little bit difficult to see because the plastic is solid white, but it still does peek through a little bit because it is orange in color. And then the stud pattern, as you guys can see, features these somewhat rectangular shaped studs. They have a fairly narrow profile, but are actually quite long and aggressive as far as firm ground stud patterns go. Nonetheless, they dig into the ground really nicely on firm natural grass playing surfaces. And as far as traction is concerned, when it comes to just outright grip, this shoe performs really, really well. I've used the stud pattern and sole plate combo on previous shoes from Puma before, so I expect this one to perform equally as well. Also, it's very, very flexible in the forefoot, so for those that don't like stiff shoes, this is definitely something to consider. So that's pretty much it as far as tech specs go with the EF Plus. Very interesting shoe. Can't wait to try them out. And next, let's move on to a quick weigh-in so we can see how lightweight these guys are. As far as weight is concerned, while it won't be as popular as the Leather F50, I would say that this is its main competitor. So for the sake of comparison, I'm going to be weighing in both shoes for you today in real time. Keep in mind these are both in brand new condition and both in the exact same size 9 US. We'll start off with the Leather F50 Adizero for 2015, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.7 ounces. Remember that number. We'll pull that off the scale and we'll throw on the Puma EF Plus, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 7 ounces exactly. So they're about 0.7 ounces lighter, almost a full ounce. Is this noticeable? I would say so, mainly because the sole plate just feels a lot lighter on the EF Plus in comparison to what you get with the current F50. The F50 feels very heavy in the heel, at least when you have the shoe in your hands. It's not as noticeable on feet, but all in all, this shoe does have more of a weightless sensation in comparison to the F50. Plus you get an upper that is entirely made from leather as opposed to just the forefoot and toe area. So all in all, if you're looking for an ultra lightweight leather shoe, not only does this seem to be a solid option, it's also lighter than its main competitor, the F50 Adizero. As far as styling is concerned, the Puma King EF Plus blends classic and modern styling pretty well in my opinion. From the lateral side of the shoe, it kind of looks like a standard Puma King. It's a leather upper. Obviously this color features a white leather with black and orange accents throughout. But then if you look at the medial side of the shoe, it definitely has more of a modern kind of striking appearance to it, where the forefoot area is leather while the midfoot area is that bright fluorescent orange. You do have the Puma King branding in black, which I know some people aren't going to love. It's kind of an interesting logo. Reminds me a lot of like a Transformers emblem or something like that. I'm not crazy about it on the shoe, but I definitely don't mind it either. Again, you have the exposed Kevlar wire right there on the medial side as well. It is hard plastic, but it's far enough back to where it isn't going to get in the way or anything like that. You have a little bit of yellow accent from the cables themselves in the lacing system, white laces, white tongue with a little black at the top, black heel liner as you guys can see. You guys saw the insole already with its black, white, and orange color scheme. And then of course the sole plate is a combination of solid white plastic with orange accents in the SL branding, the Puma branding, the support beam down the middle, the little accents on the heel counter, and of course the tips of the studs. So all in all, pretty nice looking shoe in my opinion. I don't mind them at all. I know not everybody is going to be a huge fan of how these look, but leave your opinions on it down below in the comment section. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. Alright, so here's a look at the King EF Plus on feet. On my left foot I have the stock laces that come with the shoe, and on my right foot I have a pair of reflective orange SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of SR4U laces for yourself, check out the website sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a direct link to that down below in the description of this video. As far as how these things fit and feel from right out of the box, I'm actually really happy with them. I was expecting a much more kind of restrictive feel because of this Kevlar system, especially here on the medial side of the shoe. But when you put these on, they really do have that nice sensation of softness and flexibility that you would expect from a natural leather soccer shoe, especially considering how thin the leather is on this particular model. But with that being said, it doesn't lack the kind of structure that you would expect from something like this. It feels more solid than a standard leather soccer shoe, but you don't have any of the pressure points that normally this type of a support system would have. You definitely can feel the Brio cables on an Obra or a Superfly. You can definitely feel Flywire, but with this particular shoe, you don't necessarily have a sensation of pressure from that extra support, but you can feel the support in its entirety, if that makes any sense. As far as break-in time is concerned, the upper is flexible, the sole plate is flexible. Of course, they're made from natural leather, so they will soften up over time. And as far as stretching is concerned, I'm confident that they'll stretch on the lateral side of the shoe. On the medial side of the shoe though, because of the actual Kevlar support system that runs from the base of the sole, I'm not sure that you'll get much stretch in this area of the boot. When you pull the laces tight, it feels really good. It does have a slightly off-centered lacing system where they're pushed ever so slightly to the outside of the shoe, but very, very comfortable nonetheless. And as far as width is concerned, they're leather, so they should have some stretch. They're not particularly wide from right out of the box, but they aren't narrow either. Has a nice snug fit and feels like a more traditional leather soccer shoe as far as comfort is concerned. So as long as you don't have extremely wide feet, these things should fit you quite comfortably. And also keep in mind they do have the anatomical shape from Puma, so they come to a bit of a point at the big toe and then kind of curl around to the natural shape of your foot, as opposed to just being completely rounded. It's not something that bothers me personally. If you've worn the Evo Power line or Evo Speed line recently from Puma, this will feel pretty much exactly the same. Some people don't like it. I personally don't mind it. I actually really like that feature on this particular shoe. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So these definitely do run true to size. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I'd recommend going for your normal size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my first impressions of the Puma King 2 EF Plus. Really like the look of the shoe. I'm very intrigued by the concept, and just based on how it fits on feet from right out of the box, I'm pretty happy with them. The leather feels good, it's thin, it's soft, it feels premium enough. It's really important for me that when you do release an ultra lightweight leather soccer shoe, that the majority of the upper is leather, and that's what they've given us here with the EF Plus. It's nice and lightweight at 7 ounces. It has the same SL stud pattern and sole plate that we've seen from Puma in the past. That isn't anything groundbreaking, but it definitely does get the job done and provides that lightweight feel. And all in all, I'm just really excited and optimistic about this shoe in general. Of course, in the following weeks, I'm going to be testing these things, and of course, I will follow up with my full written review. In the meantime, if you guys want to check out the review page on my website, it'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. You will find the high quality images of this shoe that'll give you a better idea as to how these things actually do look in person. Some of the close-up details you won't see in the online stock photos, and you also will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. If you guys have any questions at all regarding this particular shoe, and I'm sure you will, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you guys have any suggestions as well, leave those down below in the comment section, and I will take a look at everything you guys have to say. As far as liking the video, if you did find it helpful and informative, liking the video really does help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.